The agents are hot on the trail of someone killing doctors in the northeastern U.S. The case continuously expands in scope as more doctors are identified as targets.
As a bounty hunter methodically does his job, a question lurks. Is this a dark plot of man's design or something otherworldly?
This is not happening.
I have lived with a fragile faith built on the ether of vague memories from an experience that I could neither prove nor explain. When I was 12, my sister was taken from me. Taken from our home by a force that I came to believe was extraterrestrial. This belief sustained me, fueling a quest for truths that were as elusive as the memory itself. To believe as passionately as I did was not without sacrifice, but I always accepted the risks. To my career, my reputation, my relationships, to life itself. What happened to me out on the ice has justified every belief. If I should die now, it will be with the certainty that my faith has been righteous. And if through death larger mysteries are revealed, I will have already learned the answer to the question that has driven me here. That there is intelligent life in the universe other than our own. That they are here among us. And that they have begun to colonize.
Welcome back to the show. You're listening to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast. I'm your host, Mike. And with me, as always, Andrew. How are you, sir?
Are you ready to start a colony? Gonna get on the boat and, I don't know, maybe go over to Europe and start a colony somewhere?
I don't know if I'm ready to start a colony.
We talked about this. You just have to get a bag of potatoes and a hammer. That's all you need, I think. And some people. And some people that you can manipulate.
Yeah, some people who have like-minded individuals.
Yes. The ones that are trying to escape religious persecution.
Yes.
That's how it's done, I think.
It is. It is. And then to do it themselves to other people. Welcome to the show. We are covering Colony today.
That was probably the worst little segue intro ever. Eh?
It wasn't good at all.
It's hard to sort of, all the titles don't lend themselves to good little segues. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes it's like, problematic.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little weird. But this is an episode, Andrew.
It is a whole episode, yeah.
It is one whole 45 minutes of episodes.
The 16th episode, actually, of season 2.
Yes. Written by Chris Carter and David Duchovny.
Well, he came up with a story. I don't think he put it into final draft or anything.
I'm sure it was a collaborative effort.
I imagine it was.
Yeah, directed by Nick Mark, who I don't recognize at all.
He directed exactly one episode of The X-Files, and is this
I was going to say.
But he directed 7 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy!
Which is a completely different show.
Very different show.
Very different show. And I don't even know, I don't see any visual trademarks or anything in this episode that made me think, oh, well, yeah, totally. That's the style this guy uses. Seen that in Buffy.
Yeah.
But it's worth noting that Frank Spotnitz is the guy who came up with the idea to return Samantha. So I don't think this episode is like absent him. I think he had the idea in a pitch session and then they developed it. And his work is in Endgame. So, that's where you see him. But I don't think that he didn't touch this script because they do exist as a pair.
Right. Yeah, Carter and Spotnitz definitely work together on most of the mythology. So they have their fingers in each project at some level.
But very much a mythology episode. It's very...
Yeah, this one is full of intrigue and darkness.
Yeah.
Should we dive into it?
Well, there is a submarine, so diving is finally appropriate.
Yes.
Often it's like, should we start discussing? Often should we delve deeper? But here, diving into it is completely appropriate. So yes,
we will dive and surface at the end.
Oh, very good. I like it. Yeah.
Let's go to silent running, and that is the end of the episode. No.
Rigged for death charges.
Mulder opens this episode with a deep monologue about his experience when Samantha was taken. The monologue is set against a shining light in a night sky. In seconds, we see it is the spotlight from a landing helicopter. A medical truck arrives. This is a military installation. To our surprise, we catch a glimpse of a man on the gurney, and it's Mulder. They wheel him in with great urgency to this dire situation. His eyes are dark and bruised. He has a low pulse. Scully breaks in, but is stopped by the military police. They lower Mulder into a bath. Scully breaks through. She demands Mulder out of the tub. The cold is the only thing keeping him alive. As she and the physician argue, Mulder flatlines. Credits.
Oh no, it's the end of Mulder.
So, yeah, did you think he was going to buck the kick it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I thought this was the end, and this is where they bring in Agent Doggett, right? Because he dies in this episode,
Yeah.
and then we go, no,
Yeah.
not really.
I mean, Terminator 2 did so well, they're like, we got to get this guy.
We got to get this guy now.
We got to get this guy.
Pronto. Mulder, you're outski.
You are out.
I like this opening. You know, of course, ER is a popular show, and I think it's popular about now. Like, this is...
This is 95.
Yeah.
And ER, I think, started in 94.
Yeah. So we have this fascination with medical dramas. I mean, obviously, there have been other shows elsewhere and, other hospital shows. It's not like they got popular with ER, but I mean, ER was...
ER was the creme de la creme.
The grand
for
daddy,
sure.
as it were. And the image that sticks with me in this opening is cutting his clothes off. And to me, that is like...
It's a small detail.
It's a small detail, but
it's...
when you see that happening in the hospital, it's like, it's serious, right? Like, there's no time to waste with buttons and catches. And
just get it off.
Get those pink and shears and boom, we'll reimburse you for your clothes. Or not,
But it's small stuff, and I agree with you, like that in this show, which when they do it, it's like, all right, okay. They did at least some research. This is how it would happen.
Absolutely.
It's not just like a ragtag operation of screenwriters and production crew who don't know what's going on in an operating room.
They definitely have the attention to detail. You believe it's happening. I do note this style of opening as the crisis, and of course, after the commercial, it is not going to be resolved. That there's just too many questions of what the hell is happening that, after the commercial, it's going to be like 3 months ago, or, it's
previously.
Exactly. How did we get up to this point? But it's well done.
Yeah. Yeah. So we come back on the research vessel Alta and the Beaufort Sea in the Arctic Circle 2 weeks earlier. The men aboard ship notice something high above them. A UFO, perhaps, hovering. Suddenly, it rushes toward them and crashes in the distance. One more, Andrew, alien that cannot fly.
They have problems.
We made this comment in season 1 that they all must be intoxicated because they cannot land for the life of them.
It's true, and not to derail this amazing opening, but I'm afraid to tell you that this is one of those scenes where I'm going to have a couple of bullet points.
Oh boy, here we go. We haven't even started.
Listen, Ghost in the Machine, we didn't even get out of the opening, and I was tearing a strip off this thing. So,
okay.
Have you finished explaining our
Yeah,
our
you go ahead.
opening?
That's all. That's about all that happens after the credits.
Pretty much. Okay.
Until we switch scenes.
So, I normally, when I watch a show, suspend my disbelief, but if there's one thing that's sort of like, wait a second, and then a second thing that's like, wait a second, and a third thing that's like, well, hold on a minute, then I immediately start sharpening my knives, and this scene has
Slicing
it all.
And dicing.
So
Okay.
it begins with, it was up there for 20 minutes, and they're only now alerting the captain.
Yes. Okay, I caught that too.
We should talk to the captain about this. Oh, no, he's having his special time.
No, he's got his tea time right now.
Yeah, he doesn't need to see. I mean, that's just a weather.
Damn it, Johnson. How many times I got to tell you, you don't interrupt the captain during tea time.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. And then it's now hovering and seemingly, as you say, hovering with some skill. Alien pilot is piloting well. And then it flies past and crashes. I mean, like, what happened on board that ship that it had to...
I have no idea. He really must be drunk because he goes from 0 to 120 and then manages to crash it. Yeah. Not only into the ocean, but into obviously some sort of iceberg because it explodes.
Well, exactly. The explosion is the next thing. It's like... Who's walking away from that if it's basically a nuclear explosion in the background? It's like, I don't think...
It was an interesting choice. I will say that much, because to have an explosion on the ocean,
Yeah.
everything has to line up. You know, like he has to really crash into the sea or you know, hit the lone iceberg.
Well, and if I'm the captain, I'm not like, let's go check that out. I'm like, sucks to be him. Let's call it in, right? But
Tell you what, this alien is probably drinking behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And he's hitting everything but rock bottom.
Now let's talk about why the Arctic Sea at all.
Okay.
Because his targets are all in like polite areas of the eastern seaboard.
Do some sightseeing.
Fair.
Right?
Fair. I mean,
maybe he came in at the wrong trajectory, entered Earth's atmosphere.
well, we have established
a
he's
little bumpy.
shitty
I'm
pilot,
off course.
So he's also a shitty navigator.
Yeah, he is a shitty pilot.
He's a great killer, but a horrible pilot. All right, this is part one of my bullet points are now complete.
Okay,
Yeah.
His transformation from shitty pilot to amazing bounty hunter is staggering.
Oh goodness, yeah.
He's got the precision threading through a needle, the eye of a needle.
Yeah, well, he's also soon to be an amazing rally driver soon enough, because that'll be my next point of contention. But we'll go. Let me hear about the next scene.
All right, we go now to the Women's Care Family Services Center. A doctor grabs some coffee as a newscast is playing in the break room. The woman on TV describes the scene we just saw, but explains that it was actually a Russian fighter pilot who crashed and miraculously survived. As she continues, the doctor sees the man's face, and with a cue from Mark Snow, we know this means trouble. The doctor rushes out of the room and down the hall towards the exit. As he pushes through the double doors, he is surprised and restrained by the man he just saw on the newscast. Where is he? When he doesn't get the answer he wants, the big man pulls out a smooth, shiny metallic object. A spike springs from it, and he jabs it into the back of the doctor's neck. Green liquid starts fizzing out. He walks over to the electrical panel and rips the door off. Apparently, that's enough to cause an electrical fire and set the room ablaze. The man casually exits as the alarm sounds. Okay. I had to make note of that electrical box.
Do you have any issues in this?
Just the covering for the electrical box. All he did was rip the door off, and it was enough to cause major destruction and spark.
Well, immediately burst into flames. I mean,
immediately.
It's just that.
He didn't touch any of the circuits, nothing. He just rips the door off.
Well, I think there are signs that say, warning, do not rip door off. May result
That's true.
in fire. It's well known.
Could this happen? Probably. But I'm going to say it's close to 0%.
I think it's pretty close to 0% as well. Although I do like the sign on the door as the alien bounty hunter Brian Thompson. I'm going to call him ABH because it's hard to say alien bounty hunter 15 times fast. The sign on the door says fire door.
Fire door.
It's like,
I don't think I saw that.
It's like, this is the door behind which we keep the fires, so beware.
That's for the crew. They accidentally left that on. Don't go in here. This room's gonna set on fire.
Yeah, we never go in there. It's a bad place. So yeah, this is part 2 of the bullet points because this one is kind of strange. I Googled Anchorage, Alaska to Scranton, PA.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 79-hour car drive. And there are toll roads, by the way, just in case.
Oh, you just see the bounty hunter flicking some coins in the basket.
I see him looking at a map. Do I take the I-90 from here, or is it faster to do back roads?
Shit.
Yeah. Okay. So logistically, we have figured out he can't do that in 2 days because he crashed land.
Okay. Well,
the news report says 48 hours ago this happened. And then suddenly he's here in Scranton. 79 hours, can't drive it.
Hold on.
Okay.
In the span of like 2 scenes, 1 scene maybe.
Yeah.
We go from praising the writers and from the surgery bay, like, oh, they really did their homework here, but they couldn't figure out that it takes longer than 2 days.
I think that it's a different crew that does the opener versus the rest of the show. That's my philosophy here, because the wheels start falling off really. Okay, so we're sure he's not driving across country, so I don't think you can do it with Amtrak.
Well, maybe he had one of his alien buddies who was buzzing the area pick him up.
Oh, he hitched a ride. Well, that would make sense because we know he's a shitty pilot.
Yeah, he doesn't get another spaceship.
Yeah.
Not right now. He's got to earn it.
It's true. Even a commercial flight, that's an 11-hour flight. Like, given that this is the third guy he's killed, that will be established. Like,
that makes it even worse.
He's got a busy schedule. He's got to fly over.
This guy, no wonder he's always sweating. He's running everywhere.
That's right.
Oh, I got to make it to my next appointment.
God, I'm running behind. I got so many doctors to kill.
God.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
To say nothing of the actual news report, like I'm looking at that going, who's on the camera? This is remarkable.
Right.
And like it's up in Anchorage and they got to ship the footage down to PA to run on the local news. It's just all like...
I want to be that guy who gets called up to sea to report a crashed pilot.
Well, he just happened to be on the iceberg cutter, whatever it is. You know, he's already out there. And that the camera is like focusing in on this Soviet pilot or Russian pilot, whatever he is, because they're saying he actually it was a Russian plane and they got him out from the water. It's like, well, hold on. If that's even true, then this guy is
What's he doing?
He's under guard.
Kills everyone in sight.
Yeah.
He just murders everyone so he can walk free.
Must be. And they covered it all up. Yeah.
They covered it.
So, yeah,
okay.
I got issues about how he gets from Alaska to Scranton in 2 days, but...
fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough.
All of this is excused by the cool factor of the weapon. This is the very first scene where we see... I think the production name for this thing is the gimlet. The little cylinder with the spike comes out with the Schwick noun.
I believe... I heard David Duchovny call it a stiletto.
Oh, okay. That would fall
in like a post-season 5... interview or something. I don't remember, but either one works.
Yep.
So we go to Mulder's office, or should I say the X-Files office? That's very mean to not give Scully a place. We go to Mulder and Scully's office.
No, it's Mulder's office. I'm sorry. It's got his name on the door. That's been established.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mulder pulls up 3 obituaries that have been sent to him to show Scully. The doctor we just saw, Dr. Landon Prince, Dr. Gail Gayhart, and Harvey Buchanan. They all worked in abortion clinics and have all been killed in arson fires. Scully suggests militant right-to-lifers. It's taken Mulder all morning to figure out why he would be sent these obituaries, but he hands Scully photographs of the 3 men, and they're all the same face. Triplets, Andrew?
Must be.
Must be.
Must be. Although that first headshot that gets passed out, I mean, that's the spookiest looking picture of a doctor I've ever seen.
What kind of picture are you taking, sir?
That's right. This is my boudoir shot. It's my dating profile shot.
Yeah.
I'm known for intensity and long walks on the beach.
Mulder can't find any blood connection between them, and beyond that, he can't find any records on them at all. It's as if before they died, they didn't exist. So, we cut here to a police department. The agents question an officer at the local PD. The man did legal abortions. They arrested a preacher, Reverend Calvin Sistrunk. I always got to wonder about who comes up with these names.
It's a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a good one. There's another one in this episode, don't you worry.
Mm-hmm.
He's threatened abortion docs before and was carrying a news clipping with the face of one of the doctors that said, "Do you know this man?"
Yeah, spooky. This is where the episode gives us this red herring of the anti-abortion killer. You know, they even wheel out a guy. And necessary? Does this add to the episode?
I just think it's superfluous information. It's something that it's information, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. I think it's just coincidental that happens to be a hot button issue, which
I see.
We all know Chris Carter likes to throw in.
Good point. And I do like that even Scully is used as the vessel to say, well, this is the strangest case. It doesn't make any sense, you know, because that's probably what we're thinking at this point. Like, none of this stuff makes sense. So
nothing's adding up already.
It's supposed to look a little conventional, and then it's not.
Mulder wonders if they will find remains and that his death may be a bit presumptive, but the officer states he's been missing since the incident. His keys were in the stairwell where the fire started, and his car was in the lot. I want to ask real quick, Andrew, do you recognize this officer?
I have seen him before in another episode. I think he was... Okay.
Erlenmeyer Flask.
Yes.
He's the guy who's like, we didn't release anything to the FBI.
Yes, and he
How do
does
you
it
know
here
this
as well.
information?
He does it
He
here
does.
as well. I thought
That's his one role.
Which is great
Be
because
suspicious.
that episode had him, it was tangentially related to the green ooze being released from these aliens when they get shot as well. So we're coming full circle with this guy.
Kinda. Another officer brings in Sistrunk. The man is a bit cocky and breaks into the conversation with condemnation of the doctor and his murder of the unborn. Mulder presses him that whoever killed Prince be linked to 2 other murders. The man offers a bit of an olive branch. There are those who endorse the killing of the heathen sinner in God's name, but I, sir, am not one of them.
Well, that's nice.
Mulder shows him the clipping, and the man states it came from the newspaper. Obvious.
Well, yeah, I mean, not a book.
There are more of God's soldiers seeking this man for judgment. And the agents now head off to Binghamton newspaper to speak with the attendant.
So, interestingly enough, that newspaper, the legend calls it Globe and Mail.
Yep.
That is one of our national newspapers here in Canada.
Nice.
Like literally coast to coast. It is not out of like small town province or whatever. I like they use the name here in small town Binghamton. Well, it's not small actually. It's like, medium-sized city, but it is not like New York City, New York Times kind of paper.
Right.
But
awesome.
Oh, isn't that nice? A classified section where you go in, you pay money for an ad, like that harkens back to a kinder, gentler time.
Such a different time.
Yeah.
Ugh. I used to have a big background in newspapers, but yeah, just the whole process of going in and requesting ad space, and then you got to figure out how big it's got to be. It's like, ugh.
And then you're sitting there writing out your message character by character. You pay by the letter.
Yep. Okay, so the attendant remembers the man who placed the order paid by cash. They show her the photo of the preacher, and she says it was not him. The man who placed it refused to sign anything, and he asked to place the same ad a second week, but he never paid. Scully expresses concern over this case. She thinks it's a waste of time at this point, and it may be another setup. In typical Mulder fashion, he expresses that if someone wanted to set them up, would they give us so little to go on?
Yes, and they've done it before.
I was like, yeah, they kind of would.
I think, in fact, Erlenmeyer Flask, now that we've dropped that nugget, was exactly the same kind of thing.
Same idea. They were handed something small.
Gave them a news clipping or news, turn to channel 6, hung up, and saw the high-speed car chase. That was literally all they got.
Yeah.
So, yes, indeed, they would. Now, other thing, the implication here is we're meant to believe that the alien bounty hunter is the one who came and placed the ad. Mm-hmm. That was where my head was at this point. Were you kind of there as well? Yeah,
I think that's the initial goal, is to make us think this is how he's tracking them down. So I think that's...
So in addition, going from Alaska to Scranton and Teaneck, New Jersey and New York City, he had to stop by Birmingham to place an ad.
The pit stop to the news organization is very small, very small, very quick.
Yeah, and everybody knows the circulation of the Binghamton Globe and Mail
is immediate.
It will get you what you want. It's a well-known fact. They talk about it in alien bounty hunter circles.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's known.
So, is that why he crashed? Was he writing the ad?
He's trying to condense.
Was he piecing it together? He's like, all right, how can I get the most response from this and make it bold and attractive to the eye?
What font should I use?
Oh, shit, an iceberg.
Oh, damn. That's clearly it. That is
I think we're onto something here. Mulder suspects there are more of these men out there and suggests a pattern on a nearby map. It is the weirdest pattern I've ever seen, Andrew. It's generally moving north, but it takes a sharp left turn in the middle there. I don't really know if that's a pattern or not. I guess that works, but Sure, Mulder.
I think
whatever.
it's a little sloppy. I think this is David Duchovny's idea. Yeah, Chris, I think he goes north from here. Yeah.
Look at this pattern. I don't know. It's just didn't strike me as a pattern.
Not so much,
Mulder,
no.
but
It's kind of a
he asks.
coincidence.
Yeah. He asks to get the voicemail, and the lady cons him into paying the bill.
I do like that. I do like this actor.
Yeah.
Do we see her in any other episodes? I hope she gets more work.
I don't readily recognize her, but yeah, she handles this character pretty well.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Scully dials the number and says 24 people have seen the man. The first one is in Syracuse. At the FBI field office in Syracuse, who picks up the phone, Andrew?
That is Agent Weiss, who we have seen in such episodes as Schizogeny and Ghost in the Machine.
Come on. No. It's Colonel Budahas from Deep Throat.
Oh, shit.
The guy huddled up in the corner. Can't remember anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So that's Budahas. He is now Agent Weiss.
I like him better as Agent Weiss, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a better guy. Mulder's calling the agent and sends him to the man's location to sit on him until they get there. Weiss has nothing to do, apparently, and heads out immediately.
Well, and frankly, I love the trust factor here. Like they need to move this plot onward because it's like random dude calls you up out of nowhere and says he's an FBI agent. I mean, let's give it to Mulder. He can certainly command authority. Because like the first words out of my mouth would have been,
Who are you?
Who are you?
Credentials, please?
Yeah. I got 6 other cases I'm working on. I'm not going to drop everything just to do your thing.
Thank God. It's been so dead here, Mulder, sir. I've been dying for something to do.
Yeah.
He arrives at the home and hears someone talking inside. As he peers in, he can see a man arguing with someone else. It's the hunter.
No. I like this doctor.
Yeah. Weiss goes around back and witnesses an attack. He enters as the doctor is turning into green goo on the ground at the feet of the bounty hunter. Weiss shoots him, and green ooze spills out of him, but there's no effect. Suddenly, Weiss grabs his eyes in pain. Mulder and Scully arrive outside, and they're confronted by Agent Weiss, looking just as healthy and spry as ever. He claims no one is home, but there's mail in the mailbox that's pretty old. The agents go to have a look around as Weiss walks back to his car. He opens the trunk to reveal the real Agent Weiss stuffed inside. The bounty hunter looks around and changes shape back into his other identity and walks off.
Question about...
I have a problem.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we have the same problem. I'll let you go first.
Well, it's a scene like this that... Well, I guess I should say from here to the next scene, I have to comment on the investigative prowess of our agents here.
Oh, okay.
Is it common, Andrew, for FBI agents to head to a scene and then hitch a ride back to the office?
Hitch a ride
Yes or no?
back to the office.
Like they drive to the scene,
Yeah.
and then they take a different car home
They don't take the different
or back
car
to the
home.
office.
Do they?
What I'm getting at
Oh, okay.
is his car is very much still there when Mulder and Scully leave.
Yeah.
So either they don't piece that together or it's just a big plot hole.
Well,
I feel like they should have been a little more aware of they're looking for someone who's killing people. The agent they sent here hasn't left. His car with government plates is still in front. He's not there when they leave, apparently, because
right.
they leave and go back to Washington.
Right.
It's nitpicky, but
Well, the
I
problem
just
is
feel like
we don't see it, so we don't know what's
I know.
happened. But yes, I agree with you. It is a little untoward. They just exit stage left, and then we have our scene, and we don't know what the agents do. So
Yeah.
I agree. That's a bit strange. But I mean, I'm surprised that Alien Bounty Hunter didn't torch the car by tearing the door off.
Or just use it.
Or just drive away in it. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
no. He knows his limitations. He knows.
Yeah, that's
shitty
true.
pilot.
He is being nice. He's like, I just got a DUI, an FUI, if you will.
Yes. If I
And,
drive this thing, it's gonna crash into an iceberg and explode. That will blow my cover. So I'm just gonna
man.
walk away. Walk away.
Yeah.
Wait, I have another problem before we run away from this.
Oh. Okay.
The shape shifting bit. This is the first time we see it, which,
Mhm.
to its credit, is pretty good for 90s. The CGI of Weiss transforming into Brian Thompson, the face shift. Pretty decent. But there's no way that Agent Weiss is as large as Brian Thompson, the alien bounty hunter. So, do the clothes also shapeshift as well? Do they expand to fit the new body? Does the body shapeshifting magically adjust the size of the clothes? Discuss.
You just have to go with it.
Okay, it does. That's all I need to know.
It does.
Otherwise, you
actually they edited out the fabric tearing as Brian Thompson appeared.
I would love a moment like he transforms and like there's a ripping sound and he looks down.
Yeah. Damn it! It's always the crotch.
It's always the crotches. My massive cock does not fit into these pants. So.
Yes. Apparently. So back at the FBI, Skinner brings Mulder in. He's not happy. And after some stern questioning, Skinner lays the bomb that he answers the people who do not give two shits about the X-Files, Mulder, particularly when one of their agents is found dead. They found Weiss at a house that you sent him to, stuffed in the trunk of his car. And Mulder says that's impossible. Really? Is it impossible, Mulder?
I have pictures.
You spoke to him? You spoke to him once. He couldn't have died after that.
It's true. There was a period of time where stuff happened and you weren't there. You flew back. It's probably a 12-hour flight.
So Skinner terminates the investigation. He wants a full accounting on his desk in the morning. Scully calls Mulder, and he tells her the good news. But she's received something in her email. A digitally scanned photograph.
Listen,
Man.
1995, it would have been a big deal. I'm surprised that the pictures weren't sent in like that ASCII thing where all the dots are made up of little numbers and letters.
Little symbols.
Those were cool.
These were the days, weren't they?
Those were great.
I mean, you get home from a long day at school, you take your phone cord across the room, you plug it into the computer, you log on to the internet with 56K in all its glory.
Yep.
You head over to your favorite site, click on an image thumbnail.
Yeah.
And then after waiting
6 to 8 minutes.
6 to 8 minutes for a single image to process, you catch a glimpse of that sweet, sweet nipple.
That's right. It goes down line by line. You're watching it resolve. Things take effect, and then you see that there's a censored area. And you're like,
son of a bitch.
I wasted how much? That cost me $7.
Damn it.
At this point, the full report on his desk in the morning. So we're going to have Mulder doing an exciting report writing montage, right? He's going to be drinking coffee, burning the midnight oil, collating files, checking the photographs. That's going to happen now, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's exciting stuff.
It is exciting, but they don't do that. He does what I would do and procrastinates and disregards the order he's just been given because he's still got time.
Well, he does.
He's like, you know what? I can whip out this report in 15 minutes tonight at midnight.
Bing, bang, boom, it's done. He'll use a chat GPT to do his report for him.
Yes. So, Andrew, what was your go-to website during this period? What websites did you visit in the 90s?
So
like if you came home from school and you're like, I'm going to get on the internet. It's 1995, let's say 96.
Okay, well, I think I was a Lycos search engine user. I think that was my thing, and maybe Alta Vista was popular
Alta
too.
Vista.
Hard to ignore.
Dog pile.
Hard to ignore Yahoo, but Google. I mean, Google was for nerds, man.
Google wasn't around here.
Well, it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't as big.
No, in 1996.
Yeah, I think Google's around.
I don't think so.
Don't
I think it was
make me go to the internet to Google that answer.
We're gonna Google the Google answer.
When was Google made? That's top search result. Oh my God, 1998. I am eating my words. 98.
Thank you.
That's when it was founded. Okay, well, it was the Wild West before then.
Yeah, it was. It was like you were saying. It was Alta Vista, Yahoo, Dogpile, fucking Ask Jeeves if you had a question.
Jeeves, yes.
Oh, my go-to websites, obviously for me, Metallica.com.
Well,
I always had to check on my boys.
Sure, they had a lot of the blink tag so that the titles would be blinking.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. You know what? I thought a really amazing website was IMDb. the movie website.
IMDb was a great one, and it actually took off.
The ability to cross-reference if this actor worked with that actor was very cool.
It was a great idea, and it's turned into something fantastic.
Indeed.
I can't imagine how many people it takes to keep that site accurate.
Well, it's about the love, I think. But Amazon owns IMDb, I think.
I did a lot of Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo strategy tips.
Okay.
I looked that up a lot.
You're right.
Trying to resurrect General Leo. I was trolled big time. But anyway.
Down the rabbit hole, man.
So as the digitally scanned photograph, as Scully says, generates, it's of Dr. James Dickens, who conveniently, Andrew, is right here in Washington, so the episode can continue unhindered by Skinner's anger.
He can stop by there on his way back home from the office.
Yeah,
basically.
that's too perfect.
It's amazing.
Mulder goes to get Scully, and he passes a man who identifies himself as Ambrose Chapel.
Okay.
Again,
So
the
that name is a character from The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that is the nod there. It is a weird name, but it is a little nod. I don't know what the other
all right.
feature
All right,
guy's
I'll give
name's
it a
nod
pass.
to, but this one is a nod.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
He works for the CIA, and he wants to talk to Mulder. He has a story they will want to hear. Inside Scully's apartment, Chapel talks about knowing of their existence and presence in the country for some time.
We had no idea they were in the country until last year.
Who are they?
We're working on vague intelligence reports, but it appears that early in the Cold War, Soviet scientists stumbled on a genetic anomaly in sets of identical twins. They were able to isolate the specific DNA material that gave the twins their facial features, hair color, texture, and they were able to reproduce it.
Are you saying these men are clones?
By all outward appearances.
How did they get here?
The program went by the code name Gregor, the name given to every clone. We believe the original Gregor came here sometime in the mid-70s on a German passport. Using that same document, they were able to bring a small cadre of clones into the country, several of which have obtained strategic positions in the medical establishment.
For what purpose?
In the event of war, they would mobilize simultaneously at different facilities across the U.S. to contaminate blood supplies, sabotage pharmaceutical factories, essentially destroy the country's immune system.
If you've known about this for a year, why hasn't anything been done?
Well, this is where the story gets perhaps even more incredible. In a secret agreement, someone is allowing the Gregors to be systematically eliminated by a man who I believe is a Russian spy killer, in exchange for the absolute suppression of the program's existence and to obtain the science that created it.
What's your business in this?
I believe we share similar sentiments on our government's policies of denial, which is why they've been trying to contact you.
Who?
The Gregors. You've obviously got a reputation as someone who might protect them and bring these misdeeds to light.
What makes you think we've been contacted?
Your inquiries into their deaths. And your response to the ad I placed.
So they went under the codename Gregor. What did this scene do for you? Did it answer any questions for Andrew, or did you call bullshit?
Well, my first thought was, Jesus, Mulder, you went from trust no one to just trust anyone.
Trust everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thankfully they will address that point later on when Mulder says, I did my work. I have the file on this guy. He's a veteran. It's fine. It works. But I don't know. It was not bad. It had me to the point where I was like, okay, this is kind of a neat thing. It doesn't explain anything about the bounty hunter and what's going on here. But
no, it doesn't. It explains what's the term I want to use? It gives the audience enough to be believable.
Yes, which is what X-Files excels at.
Yeah, and you have this sneaking suspicion in the back of your head that this is not true at all. Because these people are turning into green goo.
There's definitely more to it than that, than what he is presenting. But I like that they don't give him a 5-minute monologue like they do at the beginning of season 5, episode 1 with Critchkow, and it's like edited with stock footage so that they can make it watchable. Here, it's just like, I'm going to tell you a story, and it gets even weirder. You know, you're on this guy's side, so I guess I kind of like it, actually. Like, he's presenting himself as an ally, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with this, actually.
Very much so.
Yeah.
From here, we go to Germantown, Maryland. One of the identical doctors is working at a facility with large water-filled tanks, and the water has a green glow to it.
Mm.
He leaves for the night, and a woman picks him up. They arrive home at his apartment building, and when he settles in, we see through the window Mulder and Scully arriving. They get to his door real fast.
They do. I have that note as well.
They are, I think, 3 floors up, and we see them arrive on the street, and then as we pan left to follow the doctor, they're knocking at the door.
Well, Mulder is known for his jogging ability, so
he is a very fast person. David Duchovny, as we have discussed.
he's a fast runner.
So, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have the stats on Jillian, but I'm sure she can book it if she needs to.
If she's wearing the right shoes.
Yes.
She's not in this episode. In this moment, she's not wearing the right shoes. So I don't believe it.
So they knock on the door and identify themselves. Dr. Dickens catches a glimpse of Ambrose behind the agents and begins to run. He jumps out his 3rd-story window. To Mulder's surprise, the man actually gets up on the pavement and begins walking away and running down the street.
I love that moment. That is
awesome.
So obviously I have hated on a couple of the things leading up to this. I think they played fast and loose with the sort of continuity of the chronology, like how our guy is getting around. I mean, just give him a flying saucer. Don't make it crash. That's dumb. Because then he can get wherever he needs to be and it's fine. But that aside, when they have these moments, you're like able to forgive an awful lot because it's such a good scene where the guy, like literally you're thinking, okay, this guy's scared. So we know Ambrose is probably a bad guy, probably the alien bounty hunter. And it makes us think, oh shit, now our agents are in for it. And then the guy jumps out the window and you're like, oh, he'd rather take his own life than get caught. And then he gets up with that awful kind of disjointed, like that's a corpse getting up right there. His
arm looks like it's all bent backwards or something. It's like, Jesus.
So
but yeah, they do a few things in this episode where it's like, okay, from here on, these are canon things.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously the superhuman strength, the bounty hunter, we see the space stiletto. It all started here pretty much. So
yeah,
this scene by itself was really cool because you thought he was going to kill himself and boom, he's getting up. So there's obviously already more to the story that Ambrose laid on us.
I would say this is where the episode, like the 2-parter really takes off, is in this moment because now you see the cool stuff. You know, we've laid the groundwork for what's going on. Some of it's been problematic. But now it's like, okay, cool. This is actually cool stuff. Good stuff. Get rolling into the action. We've been talking for a long time. Let's get some action.
So Mulder and Ambrose pursue the man. Scully sees Ambrose halt for a moment and take a different route. Mulder's hot on the doctor's tail when he gets hit by a car, Andrew. Hit that he shatters that windshield.
But just had the wind knocked out of him.
He's all right. Just the wind.
Yeah.
Happens every day, Scully. Don't worry about it. She catches up to Mulder. He sends her to continue pursuing. The doctor, down an alleyway, hits a chain link fence, and he's got nowhere to run. And out of the darkness comes Ambrose, casually approaching the frightened man casually approaching the frightened man who takes on one more desperate attempt to flee up the fire escape. Ambrose grabs his ankle forcefully, and in a quick cut, we see now that it's the bounty hunter. Scully arrives on the scene to an empty alley, gun drawn. No one's there. Suddenly, from behind the dumpster, Ambrose stands up. He says he went up the fire escape before he could grab him. As Ambrose leaves, Scully steps into something, a green, gooey substance. As she leaves the alley, the puddle begins sizzling and smoking.
Yeah, well, that's convenient, isn't it? Like if she'd stayed there for another 30 seconds to be like, what the hell is that?
I didn't get that.
I didn't think it was necessary other than to make us go, oh, shit's gone sci-fi.
Oh, neat. Well, yeah, like it does that automatically. So unless it's, I don't know.
I thought
that
it was
weird.
gilding the lily a little bit. I don't think it was absolutely necessary.
It's not. It's not. Just extra fade out sauce.
Fade out sauce. Yes.
It's got to be cool.
Yeah.
So back at Mulder's office, he's feeling a bit better, but his phone is broken. She suggests dropping the case once again. She has her doubts on Ambrose. So she asks him, what happened to trust no one? And as you stated earlier, he says, I switched it to trust everyone. He did do his background check on the man, and he's the real deal. She says the doctor was running from Ambrose, and why would a man of Ambrose's importance need our help catching the doctor? They argue over logistics of the case and where to draw the line. Weiss's death has been eating at her. She feels responsible, and Mulder gives her the, we know what we're signing up for with this job, and everyone draws their own lines. So you either accept it or you don't. Come on, Scully.
Well, that does introduce the concept of your own personal boundaries and, how far will you go? Because they will go back into that in Endgame. So I like that they're introducing it here because it'll be relevant later. And right now, she looks very close to being, I'm going to walk away because I don't, this is above us. What can we do in this, that whole shtick? I think it's a great scene. I mean, it's always great when they bandy back and forth on what they need to be doing here. But they reluctantly keep on going. And to the point where she's like, oh, okay, well, listen, my shoes have a problem.
Yeah, she just as the argument's dying out, she shows him her heel, and the substance she stepped in ate clean through the sole. So she will also be going down to the autopsy bay because no clear cause of death can be established for Agent Weiss. Oh, she can't believe that. In the autopsy bay, they discuss the man on the slab, poor Weissy-Poo. He has no outward signs of death, no cuts or strangulations. His tox is clean, but there is evidence of polycythemia, which is an increase in production.
Fast.
Right. An increase in red blood cells. It's extremely excessive, and the blood was actually curdled like jelly. Something caused it to thicken or clot. Mulder keys in on Chapel saying the doctors could contaminate the blood supply if they wished. Maybe one of those contaminants killed this man.
Now,
pieces are falling into place.
Mike, I have to ask you. We've seen this dynamic before in Erlenmeyer Flask.
Yeah.
We have seen the results of this poison attack when somebody gets shot. And, the ambulance being a great example. Did they just log that as an X-file and forget about it?
They must have, because it happened to Mulder.
Exactly. Hey, Mulder, does this guy's eyes and, what's happened there, does that look familiar? And he's like, shh, yeah, that happened to me. And somehow I survived it.
Scully would be like, as a medical professional, by the way, I've seen this symptom before, and Mulder had the same rings around his eyes.
I don't know why they were so hesitant to draw comparisons back to Erlenmeyer Flask when, literally they're drawing the retreads from that episode. So it's like, why not just have them say, this is like that other case we had with the guy in the water.
Remember when Deep Throat took one in the neck?
Do you remember that? No. Did that happen? That was just 6 months ago. Yeah, no memory.
I got nothing. A man summons Mulder to Skinner's office, and he's going to deflect Skinner for the time being while Scully continues investigating. Skinner says there's been a family emergency, and Mulder needs to call home immediately.
I don't think there's anything in that folder that he brings into Skinner's office.
No, I don't think so. It's just like
empty.
a sticky with a smiley face.
I owe you one report.
I owe you one report.
Yeah.
His father has received a strange call, and both his mother and him want Mulder home ASAP. He leaves to go home as Scully comes in with an address for Dickens, which she will be investigating solo.
And I'm amazed that Mulder's like, yeah, you go check that out. I got to go home. But this is legitimately a big deal. We have not met any of Mulder's family yet.
Yeah.
We've been up and down Scully's family tree, but this is our first intro to the Mulders.
Yeah. Scully arrives at a warehouse. The door is cracked, She's got her gun drawn as Mark Snow's music gets intense with a low, haunting beat and a rhythmic scratching noise. To me, it's one of my favorite of Mark Snow's songs. I think he's got a really cool atmosphere to this one with that scratchiness. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's something about it.
It is. There's, first of all, a pulsing element to it. Generally, and he comes back to the same stings, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Inside, she sees Ambrose destroying the takes that we previously saw with the green fluid. There's debris all over the ground. He steps on what appears to be an organ or something, and green ooze gushes out. He hears her, but he can't find her. She peels out away from the warehouse as he exits to see her leave. Immediately, she's on the phone to Mulder, and she leaves him a message saying she's in danger. We go now to Mulder's parents' house. He arrives in Martha's vineyard, and his dad catches him outside as he's lighting a cigarette. Now, this is interesting because when we think cigarettes in this show, we think CSM and bad.
I have.
So are they trying to imply
smoking? So he's clearly a bad guy.
So they're trying to imply his father may not be trusted.
Well, but they also paint him as an asshole, like the way that
they do.
He's very judgmental, and he's got that look like this guy is hard as nails.
Yeah,
so he's not likable.
Intense. Instead of a hug, he stops Mulder with a handshake,
and that looks awkward.
It was very
that
awkward.
Looks like, Dad, why are you offering me a handshake? What the hell?
You can tell these two have no relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's very, very stressful and kind of, we go through the motions when we absolutely have to.
That's right. This is a special occasion, Fox. Somebody important is here.
Yeah. The man begins speaking ominously about burying memories and moving on with a type of certainty. As Mulder peers in the window, he sees his mother talking to someone. The camera pulls into his father's face as he says, "It's your sister."
Talk about burying the lead.
Record scratch.
Yeah, exactly. What?
Say what?
Sister, really?
But Mulder enters the house in disbelief. Both his mother and the woman stand, and she calls him by his first name, Fox.
Whoa, revelation.
It's important, Andrew, to note that this is the same woman who picked up the latest victim doctor in the van.
Oh,
if you didn't catch that.
I did catch that.
Yeah.
So she's connected. It's no coincidence that she's here. I think that they linger a lot on the van sequences, and she's in the house when the agents come, and she's
very
hidden, and watches this all happen. She leaves later.
Yeah, a little silhouetted at times, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that they go to lengths to make sure that we know that she's involved. And then she shows up here. It's like, oh, she was the girl that was in there with them when the thing happened. So
it's not quite adding up. Could she really be Samantha?
This is all part of it. What's going on? But I think that the people that got sucked into her being in the story all of a sudden were like,
right,
okay, now the doctors are good, and this is all. She's a protagonist, obviously, because she suffered.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Later that night, Mulder tucks in his mother. Kind of creepy. She asks him if it's really her.
Your mom to bed?
No, I have not.
The really creepy thing about this scene is that she's going to bed with her earrings on. I mean, who does that?
She gets snagged in the middle of the night. God damn it. Pillowcase.
It rips up pillowcase.
So she asks him if it's really her, and he doesn't know who else it could be. And I have to say, literally, it could be anyone else at this point, Mulder.
Yeah, what a great non-answer.
You've done 0 tests to make sure this is actually Samantha.
Pat test. Here we go.
Yeah, she knows some vague details about your past. Okay, yeah, it must be her.
Yes, she's been coached well.
Outside in the morning, Mulder takes a deep breath and composes himself. He's not the ecstatic Mulder we might expect after having found his long-lost sister, but, She sits on the porch and jokes about playing a game of Stratego to break the current ice.
See? She knows everything about them.
She knows everything, so it must be her, Andrew.
It must be her.
The two talk a little bit, searching for a place to start.
I must have been 9 or 10 when I was returned. I had no memory. I was placed with a family who raised me as a daughter.
Who were they?
I knew they weren't my parents, but I didn't remember Mom or Dad. Or you.
But you came to remember. Us.
I started having trouble several years ago. It was diagnosed as free-floating anxiety. Nothing worked for me. I hit rock bottom. Until I underwent regression hypnotherapy. And it all started coming back. The abductions, the tests. I'm in danger, Fox.
What do you mean?
You've been contacted. You know there's a man hunting my father and the other doctors.
Your father?
My adoptive parents. They're only visitors here. What people would call aliens. A bounty hunter's been sent to kill them. You've met this man. His lies to you have caused others like my father to die. He won't stop until he's killed them all, and anyone who tries to stop him.
Her explanation makes a little bit of sense. It's too easy.
Well, I think when I saw it, I thought when she dropped the term regression hypnotherapy, I thought this story has been tailor-made to work for him. Because
all the key words and all the key points to say, hey, you can trust me, and hey, you went through this too.
Yeah, and he's nodding. Well, I don't know if literally in the scene he's nodding, but certainly I think internally he's nodding at everything she says, because it's like, this is exactly how it happened for me. I get that this would happen for you, and it makes sense. So I think when I saw it, I was like, okay, I get this. But I still had that lagging sense of, okay, we know that she's connected. We know that there are weird things about her involvement. It all seems very convenient. Like, why now? Like, why suddenly, after years of searching and all the things he's been through, she's suddenly just here, you know, like, hey, we got a phone call and your sister's back, you know? So it's a little too convenient that she is suddenly here. And that, oh, by the way, only you can save us. It's like, I'm sorry to tell you.
Only you.
Yeah, you should have picked a better hero, because he'll get his ass kicked 6 ways to Sunday through these 2 episodes. And is not going to accomplish anything. But
you're going to come up dead, sis.
Yeah, but I'll try. I'll try real hard.
Yeah. Scully heads out just in time to miss a phone call from Mulder. He leaves her a message telling her to stay away from the CIA agent.
I just want to say, this business of the people, that, like Mulder calls Scully and she calls him, and they're constantly missing each other. It gets old real fast. When uppercase, she has a cell phone. So like, why is he calling her at home?
Period.
Why is he calling her at the hotel? She's got a cell phone. He's got a cell phone. Why is she calling the office? Why is she calling?
Doesn't she miss a cell phone call too?
Yeah,
I can't remember, but they play phone tags so much in the next few minutes. It's
and then he's leaving a message at the hotel, and the guy's like, "Who am I leaving a message for?" And then she comes in.
No,
I get it.
Like, come on,
they're trying to say that these chance missing opportunities is what leads to the unfortunate coincidence. But they
could have done this once.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was just once.
But yeah, okay. So he leaves her a message: "Don't talk to the CIA agent. He's dangerous." Samantha tells him that she may not be able to recognize him. He can disguise himself as anyone.
I'm calling her back.
But she can recognize him.
I'm gonna call her back and tell her that.
Exactly. Call her on her fucking cell.
Yeah.
Scully gets on a bus, incredibly aware of her surroundings, to see if she's being eyed by anyone. Mm-hmm. All seems okay, and she tries Mulder on her cell phone.
Yes.
She's staying at the Vacation Village Motor Lodge. She has very important information regarding this case. And the camera pans over a couple seats over, and sure enough, Andrew, the bounty hunter, is there. He's heard everything. Back at the warehouse, Scully uses a tool to break in. It appears abandoned. All the equipment is in disarray from the destruction earlier. Checking around, she sees the thing that Ambrose stepped on earlier. She picks it up to reveal it's actually a bag with what looks like a fetus inside. It moves, Andrew.
It moves.
Even after being stepped on and gushing.
I think something else got stepped on. He forgot to step on this because he was busy thinking about chasing Scully. Yeah. I wanted to take a little brief diversion and talk about the tool that she uses to unlock that door.
Yeah. Where did she get that?
Do you know what it is?
No.
It is called a snap gun, and it is an actual real device.
I believe it was real, but I don't think
it. No,
I've never heard of that.
You can buy them off of Amazon or whatever. Like, you can go and get one, and they are actually super effective. Although it usually takes several strikes to use. It rarely opens the lock in the first try, and it requires a tension bar to actually turn the lock. Like, if you tried to turn the lock with the little sliver of metal that she's put in there, it would break. So she needed to use a tension bar and she need to be familiar with how locks work, and I'm assuming that she is. So
it wouldn't work unless it's the end of the episode, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, normally, ladies and gentlemen, this would not work like this, but.
Well, I do like that it doesn't devolve into her pulling out her lock picks and, spending the 30 seconds to pick the lock and get in there. Like, that is a prestige skill, and it would be very out of character for her to just do it.
Yeah, Mulder's the one who does that. He's got a whole kit.
I don't even think I would go to Mulder if I was going to be breaking into a lock. I mean...
But he does.
Does he do it in?
Oh, he's got a whole thing he pulls out of his shirt or coat.
What episode does he
plenty of episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Watch for it. You'll see it. It becomes like a thing.
Well, I want to watch for it and then wait for her to be like, hold on, I've got this thing that will just click and we're in.
Yeah, the X-Files, where did this tool go?
Yeah, well, exactly. If you've got it now, you should have it for every friggin' door you walk up to. And Mulder should have one too, because it works. Like, I watched a guy on YouTube look up the lockpicking lawyer. And he literally goes through like 7 different locks in varying complexities, like basic door locks down to this really thick, chunky bolt
these
lock.
Are legal?
Yeah, well.
It's not like law enforcement only?
I think it's legal to own one. It's probably not legal to use one on a lock
I would imagine not. A B&E is a B&E, but...
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as long as you're not caught trying to get in somebody's house, totally legal.
I suppose.
Yeah. Well, listeners, don't listen to us. It may or may not be legal in the state or province where you live.
We accept no responsibility for you using this tool on your neighbor's house. Check
it into it before you go off and buy one in the district or area where you live.
Save your money for your PlayStation 5. Don't steal it.
Anyway, what else happens in this scene, Mike?
So she sees the fetus. It moves. Behind some barrels, someone flees. It's one of the doctors. She detains him with her gun. Ignoring her, he walks away. He opens another door, and another man enters. Then another. All the same man.
Pretty good composition for 96, I will say that.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's really not bad.
You can see a little bit of Elias Singer images, but it's a good composite shot. I mean, for the time, they'd be like, oh, shit. They actually hired quintuplets to play this, or quadruplets to play these guys.
So she takes this opportunity to place them in protective custody with the local police, and later on telling the officers on the scene they get no visitors and no press, just keep them secluded. With some clever cuts, we see all of the men leaving in separate cars.
Yeah, it's slick.
Yeah. The bounty hunter, of course, is watching from the roof. Mulder and Samantha are at his apartment, where he's trying to reach her at the lodge. Here we go. He leaves a message with the front desk to call him as soon as possible, and just then Scully comes in and asks for a room.
Well,
and the guy's already forgotten.
Well, more than that, like, they're trying to say that communication is literally, it's impossible between these agents, because the guy's about to write the message and his pencil breaks.
Yeah.
And then he's like, who am I leaving this for? And then Scully comes in, and
the stars aligned, and they are not getting a hold of each other.
Yeah. Okay, episode. I understand.
I get that we got to get to this point, but, you know.
And then she goes to have a shower or take a pee or something, and then the cell phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
It's like,
again. Ugh. An officer at the jail passes each cell with the men inside. The detective on the case enters and sends him to go get coffee. We all know it's not him.
Yeah,
He
as soon
flicks
as he
out the
walked in.
silver spike.
Yeah.
Yep. Flicks out the stiletto and prepares to kill the doctors in their cells.
The old fox in the henhouse.
Yeah. Back at Scully's apartment, it's nighttime. Mulder knocks on the door and she lets him in. He got her message. Her phone rings and she answers it. To her surprise and ours, it's also Mulder. She turns slowly to the man she knows as her partner, closing the door behind him, as the man she also knows as her partner is beckoning for an answer to his question on the phone. Fade out. I gotta be honest, I think that was a fucking killer ending.
It was. It was. I think that they wrote the episode around that moment.
They totally did.
They knew that this was going to be their cliffhanger, and a good cliffhanger it was.
Yeah. That was some excellent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we tore it a little bit, but I think overall it's just a good episode. I really enjoyed this one.
Well, it sounds like maybe you're leaning into final thoughts. Should we?
I am.
Start thinking finality. So I will say that I think it's a good mythology episode. It's hampered by more than a few clunky moments, which try to increase the tension, but only serve to annoy me. It seems that the episode's built around these key moments, which are legitimately cool, like the guy falling out the window and crashing. You think that's it. He tried to kill himself, and then he gets up. It's like, oh my God, that's a really smart twist. You know, it's shocking. And then we have, for the mythology junkies, they are rewarded. We have this whole business, you know, Samantha shows up and gives us some details, you know, it's like, okay, we got some plot. Because I was one of those people. I would watch the show and be like, is this going to advance the plot? A lot of it was serial, but sometimes, you know, we had the overall storyline propel a bit more. And that was this. We had this. Little did we know it's all bullshit. You know, it's going to be the next episode where we actually learn what's going on. But Samantha showing up's a big deal, and it does deliver. Yeah. And it gives us some new momentum for the story to move forward, and seemingly provides Mulder with a bit of, you know, this huge closure to his life, right? Like, wow, what a moment for this character. And I get why David Duchovny probably proposed it. It's like, hey guys, maybe this is where the story goes. And well, I guess it was Frank Spotnitz which proposed it, but then David Duchovny had the story. I don't know how that puts together, but I mean, he's the one who's got the credit, not Frank Spotnitz.
Right. If it was Frank Spotnitz's idea, just that aspect of Samantha coming back, I guess he wouldn't get a credit for that, because then where do the credits stop? You know,
yeah,
everyone who's got an idea.
Right. Well, anyway, it's seemingly Dee Dee is the one who actually shaped the story, and then it was finessed by Carter to the point where he gets a credit, and that's very cool for him. I think it is.
Yeah.
For his first outing, does David Duchovny actually go in and be a director at one point? Do I remember that?
He does.
He does, yeah. So we will be able to tear that apart when it happens. But as a writing, a writing credit, and I think I have said before that ultimately the thing that usually fails in an X-Files episode is the script. You know, acting's always good, direction's always good. If you're going to have problems, it's usually with the script. There are some problems. I'm not going to say they're not.
Yeah, it's not flawless by any means. I think what catches me, it's a great spycraft episode. I think there's a lot happening, and like we addressed earlier, there's parallels to Erlenmeyer Flask.
Yeah.
And where this is not on that level, I would say.
No, definitely not.
It runs the same course of, okay, there's spycraft, there's a lot of information, there's a lot happening, but it just, you know, the wheels kind of come off a little bit more on this episode. But I think the inclusion of the Samantha thing is huge. One, it could be viewed as like a ratings grabber, just because, you know, it's like, this is what the show's about, technically. Yeah.
You can imagine the deep-voiced announcer man promoting this episode, you know.
Mulder's sister makes an appearance.
No, it would end with, like, and the biggest mystery of all will be revealed with the appearance of Samantha.
Yeah.
You know, that would totally be it's a huge drop. It's a huge drop.
Yeah. And so I think it was really cool. And if the viewers weren't completely paying attention, they might be completely bought in at this point, you know? Like, oh man, Samantha's back and some shit's going down. So I think there are elements that would lend itself to be a really clever episode and a more important episode than it actually is.
Right.
But I think the episode leaves us with some major questions, as the cliffhanger should.
Yes. They
don't feel so overwhelming that it's off-putting. You know, who are these doctors? They're clones, but why are they turning to green goo? Who is this bounty hunter? There's no way he can be a Russian spy killer. And furthermore, why would Samantha be helping the doctors? So, the questions are valid and interesting for me at this point. So to see where Endgame takes us would be that cool cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot to like. I think we touched on Mark Snow's music, but I think that's
the last note I got here is just he sets that really dark tone and that thumping bass for almost the entire episode, that rhythmic, it just casts a shadow over the whole episode. And it really makes us feel that underlying threat of the bounty hunter.
Well, I think it's a pursuit thing. I think that it is the chase is the underlying story, is that we have Corey that are being chased by this guy, this alien bounty hunter. And I have to say that I don't understand the bounty hunter angle. Like, it assumes that he's this mercenary and he's doing this for hire or something. And that begs more questions. It could just be that he's a soldier or something. I don't know why they chose that terminology, but I think Samantha actually calls him this bounty hunter or something.
Yeah.
So
which is more keyed in on the plot, the overall mythology arc, calling him that is what he is at this point. From this point forward, that's what he's known as. So it's whether they did that on purpose or whether they made a mistake. She seems to know more about what's happening with the government, and by calling him the bounty hunter,
she's definitely clued in. And I'm sure that there's an opportunity for Mulder to ask questions that he did not take advantage of here. Mm-hmm. But he's not allowed to know that yet. That's not part of the deal. So, sorry.
Andrew, when you first saw this episode.
Yes, Mike.
If you can, mm-hmm. How did this one leave you?
With the cliffhanger?
With the cliffhanger. What was your initial response to that? Because I assume maybe you watched it when it was on, or was it just reruns at that point?
I don't remember if I saw it when it first came out. I might have at this point. I don't think I saw the first season, but I think in season 2 I got into it. So I might have seen this one at the time, but even if I didn't, it was pretty quickly to reruns. Yeah. So I think I can remember that feeling of, oh no, she's in deep doo-doo, because clearly this is bad Mulder. But I wonder if I would have second guessed it to say maybe bad Mulder's on the phone. Are they going to bait and switch us on that? And he's the real Mulder?
That would be kind of cool. Yeah. I think what grabs me about this scene is everyone is yelling at their TVs when it happened. Mm-hmm. It's one of those moments where when Mulder enters the room, we're thinking, okay, thankfully our agents are back together finally. Yeah. And then within seconds,
finally that calmness.
Yeah. They pull that rug out from under us and it turns to suspense as Mulder is calling her on the phone. It's like, oh man. That was a good time.
It was a very nice twist. I will give it that, because it's something they haven't had the opportunity to do before. And they are finally leveraging the ability of this alien bounty hunter in a cool way. But again, they're not going to kill her off, right? Like there's, she's in danger, but it's not like you think that she's going to end up burning in a building or something. So I posted on Facebook too.
Did you?
I did. I was like, hey, we got 2 hours before we're recording.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Well, we have 2, one from Emily and one from Sarah. Shall I just read them both, seeing as you didn't
you go
know?
Ahead, sir.
All right. Well, Sarah Lee says, Colony is the one with sexy hoodie Scully, right? I have a note.
It is.
I have a note about Scully looking pretty amazing in a hoodie. And runners, because I think she's gone through her shoe budget. When she first got to the Edmonton Street...
She got some new kicks.
Well, when she first got to the Edmonton Street warehouse, she ends up stepping in a pile of green goo again. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure she's like, oh man, these are going to get burned through by acid. Go through so many pairs of shoes.
She puts them back in the Reebok box.
That's right.
Brings them back to Kohl's. This was used. I didn't try them on.
I agree with I wanted to say more about the spycraft element, and I agree with it that they tried to capture that with her movements on that day. You know, she's taking a bus, she's calling him, but it doesn't really dwell, and it doesn't go anywhere because, of course, the bounty hunter is right there on the bus. It's like, oh, Vacation Village. Eh? Well, that's good to know.
Doesn't land quite as well as Erlenmeyer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the tradecraft in that was really, really good.
Yeah.
Emily Messenger says, ugh, can't with any of the Samantha clone episodes. It's my least favorite through line from the earlier seasons. It's like they think we've forgotten about the real reason for Mulder's quest, so they have to throw these Samantha clones in every once in a while. I'm always struck by what a dick Bill Mulder is to Mulder, more so in Endgame, but you see a bit of it in Colony too. After seeing Mulder's interactions with his dad and how nurturing he feels he needs to be with his mom, it's no wonder the dude has issues and is so wickedly codependent. Yes.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't like the Samantha stuff much either. It's acceptable here, just because it's a plot device to move the show forward in a different way.
Yeah.
But then they bring her back in season 5 that we covered.
Yeah.
Redux 2, and it's like
suddenly cigarette smoking man's daddy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mulder has zero recollection, or they just skip over the fact that he's seen this woman before, even though it's not the same woman. How does he not question it's just another clone?
Well, no, he does. I think he
not
does.
To go too far into that episode, but he does not take cigarette smoking man's offer to join his side or whatever. But But there's no mention of hey, you've trotted this person out before. I know this isn't my sister.
Well, how do I know this is the real?
He just accepts it in that episode. It's he's hanging on to her. Look, we'll do this on your time. Don't leave. So he's bought in again. It's what?
You've literally seen 4 clones before. How do you know this isn't just a 5th clone? Yeah, that is a big.
The season 5 one is unexcusable. I can't get past that one.
Yeah, true enough. Well, fortunately we're not covering that. So.
Yeah, we are not covering that again.
Well, the colony has been established. And,
great.
We will end this game in our next episode. Oh, whoa, that's not even a good pun.
Let us start the end game. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you in a few short moments with Endgame.
Assuming you listen to them back to back. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
You can
Please listen to us at your earliest convenience.
Let this settle in, let this percolate within you. Don't just go off and rush and listen to the next one. Really let it just stew there. Go off, have a walk.
Think about it, enjoy it. Maybe go back to our first few minutes when we were joking about how the alien bounty hunter can't fly.
Oh, that was a good time.
How somehow he made it to his location with several stops in at least a day faster than it would actually take him.
Yeah.
So, go back, enjoy it. Simmer. Nice glass of wine.
Oh,
maybe some cheese.
It's a good time. Boy, we are a good time.
We are a good time, Andrew.
Well,
and speaking of good times, I want to officially announce that we will be covering, we will be hosting a video event on September 10th. It is a Sunday. Andrew and I will be hanging out, and you are all invited. Details will follow. We haven't solidified everything, but we invite everyone to come hang out. You'll be able to write us questions and discuss things as we watch the pilot episode and maybe some more.
It's going to be a good time.
There may be a couple giveaways. Ooh.
Might be some special guests.
Oh, it's going
to be a good time. I think we need to wear party hats or something. Maybe tinfoil hats.
Oh, yeah.
Would that be appropriate?
Tinfoil hats would be appropriate.
I think that would be very good. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it'll be nice for everyone to hang out and just kind of shoot the shit.
X-Files shit.
X-Files shit.
All right. Well, that's
Come
like
hang
months
out.
away.
A month and a half.
Sure, it's not. That's closer.
Well,
than you think.
actually, a month and 10 days.
Wow. I guess
So,
we got to
yeah.
start preparing for that, though. Eh?
We should probably, we should hold a meeting.
Production meeting.
We're going to be like September 9th at midnight. We're like, okay, how are we going to do this? Just kidding, fans. We will get you all the information with ample time. So putting the bug out there, and yeah, we will see you guys then.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.